Hello everyone, welcome to Game Junk Prototype episode 76, recording on September 9th, 2021. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Andrew.
And it's the day the entire world has been waiting for. PlayStation Showcase 2021, where the real game company shows what's coming in the next few years. Not an hour conversation with some company they just acquired. We're going to see some games, some game announcements that people actually care about. Right, guys?
Frank, you're supposed to make it seem like you're not biased.
Well, we got to build the tension here. I'm clearly Team PlayStation, but maybe I was disappointed. Maybe I'm going to have to admit there's some grim realities that I complain with other companies that I might have to say are true for PlayStation as well. But maybe not. Sean's already trying to get under my skin in the text messages today. It's not working at all. I had to come right back at him. Couldn't be more wrong. I know Huck's going to love this. There's two things in here that are pure Huck. And they're not even the big announcements. Well, let's start off let's start off right at the beginning. Definitely one of my least favorite parts of this presentation. This like minute and a half long ad with nothing in it. It was like just this. I hate PlayStation advertisements on TV. They are like these weird branding things, and this was no exception. Did not need to be in here.
I don't know what you're talking. What are you talking about?
I mean, all the press conferences
where it was.
Oh, that like intro thing.
Super long. I'm like, who cares? This is what Sony's usually good at. Is like. And for the most part, they were good at in this presentation. No game really overstayed its welcome that I could see. And it was like, okay, announcement. And spoiler alert, to me, they're pretty big announcements, some of these things. Now, some are pretty thin in terms of showing anything, but still, I think...
potential.
If any of these were at E3, I think two at least could have been the biggest things at E3. No question. All right,
Possibly.
So the first one after that terrible ad was probably something Huck is very excited about. I'm excited about. Probably Sean too. Knights of the Old Republic Remake, and it seems like it's a full remake. Although I watched the interviews after, it's still kind of unclear to me. They asked them, well, what level of remake is it? And I can't remember the specifics. It was still pretty nebulous. So it was one of those, well, we're going to be true to the original, but we have a chance to make it look better. I'm like, yeah, we know. That's what a remake is. What are you changing? Are you redoing the models? Are you doing the environments? Is it like, what are we talking about? That's what we asked. And basically not an answer. So,
well, okay, hang on. I mean, they're obviously remaking it. Do you even remember what the original KOTOR looked like? It was an
easy answer. I'm like, well, of course they're going to say we're redoing all the models and levels, and it was not that.
It was an original Xbox game.
Yeah, and I think there was already like an HD remaster.
Yeah, it's on iPad, it's on iOS, right, yeah. It's on everything. So I assume that, but actually, after seeing that interview, I'm less sure that it's a redone from the ground up kind of thing. If it is,
I think they have to. I think they have to redo it.
I hope so. Either way, it's a buy, 100%.
If they were just doing, so in my opinion, if they were just doing a remaster and up-resing everything, they would probably package KOTOR 1 and 2 together.
That's true too.
They wouldn't just do KOTOR 1 without announcing KOTOR 2 as well.
And also, is it
limit the use of the word KOTOR for the rest of this? It's giving me the vibes I got when, as I talked about before the show, in the interview at the end, when the host kept saying Insom instead of Insomniac Studios. Like, you're saving half a syllable. Like, get real. Just say Insom. Those people over at Insom. Ugh.
Well, KOTOR is saving a few more syllables, but
I know.
Now, is it not? I don't know if they specifically said this, but it sounds like it's a PS5 exclusive.
I'm not sure about that either. My guess is it's not.
I mean, it seemed to be hinting at that, and if that is the case, that seems like a pretty big, like, indicator that it's a full remake. Like, you're not gonna do PS5 exclusive for something that's just up-resing the
It
old
is
game.
a timed console exclusive, which makes sense to me. Now, who knows how long? I'm surprised that the Final Fantasy VII remake, it was a pretty long exclusive. We still haven't seen that on Xbox yet, so that's substantial.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you bring up the Final Fantasy remake because to me, if it's something in that vein where they kind of are taking a game that was more of like a turn-based RPG and adding some actiony elements to it, then I'm very interested. If
I
it's
don't think
not
so.
like that, then I'm kind of like, I'll probably pick it up, but it's not day one purchase for me.
The vibe I got from the interview, post-show interview, was it's the same game design-wise, just I'm assuming, but not confirmed, upgraded graphics and quality of life stuff across the board. My comparison, I would think, would be Shadow of the Colossus HD or the remastered or remake for PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
But that's probably what expectations are. So if it's not that, could be dead on arrival potentially. Anyway, that was a nice little surprise. Next was, well, we know I love third-person action games, so I'm going to be happy with this show. Next was Project Eve, which I think was a brand new announcement. And
Yeah.
the name sounds...
Wasn't it called Shift Up?
No, that's the company I think that's making it.
Oh, okay.
Am I right?
No, yeah, the game's called Project Eve.
Okay.
But I mean, I was a little confused as to whether this is a sequel to something. Like I thought maybe it's related to Parasite Eve. I feel like there's other games that like Eve Online. I was like, I don't know. I feel like this is a franchise I'm just not aware of, but I think it is brand new.
I would say it's not Parasite Eve. Definitely not Parasite Eve.
Yeah, apparently this game has been announced before. It looks like in 2019 it was announced. I had very similar thoughts. It sounds like something that's been out before. I don't think it is. I mean, clearly channeling Bayonetta vibes.
And I would say Nier Automata.
A little bit, yeah, that too. There was some third-person stuff I would totally agree with. It's definitely got, like, graphically a Japanese action game look, which I love. I love those games, so I'm really intrigued by this game, but don't know a lot about it. But it was a pleasant surprise. It
A lot of CG.
Nowhere for me.
A lot of CG.
I thought there was quite a bit of gameplay.
I would say probably about 50-50, but it was long. They showed this game for a long time.
Yeah, I feel like this was the longest game.
Yeah, I think so.
Trailer we saw.
Yeah, I mean, it looked real nice. I don't know. It's not like totally in my wheelhouse, but I'm interested.
Yeah,
Sean's gonna be a hard sell. He's playing hard to get with PlayStation. Look, we know we all gotta play the role. You can easily play it, John. If this was at the Xbox, if this was on Game Pass day one, you'd be losing your shit.
No, I mean, the one thing, there were very little, maybe one indie game announced that I can think of. Like, it was mostly big AAA type things, which seems to be the focus for this particular press conference. So, I mean, it's fine.
I guess we didn't say this. This to me is, it's called the PlayStation Showcase 2021. So I would assume with that name and not being a state of play, which they do semi-regularly, this is their big show for all of this year. It's their E3 equivalent.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think it reflected that. And a refreshing 40 minutes long. Like, we have lots of stuff to talk about. It was 40 minutes. I wish more of these presentations were exactly like this. Fanboy mode in full effect. Next, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I guess the big announcement with this is that it's coming March 25th. I don't think in 2022. I don't think the release date was known before.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, I'm mildly interested in this game. I doubt it will be a day one purchase. I didn't play Borderlands 3, but as I stated before, I like the fact that it's fantasy. That might pull me in more so than a Borderlands sequel, but not moving my needle too much.
The only thing I like about this trailer was the Baby Metal song they used as the audio track. I hate the marketing for this game. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if it's just the whole Borderlands thing, but I am not appealed to in any way for this game. In the way they're marketing it right now, it's like a lot of fast cuts, but they're almost like too fast to really understand what's going on.
Hyper cool, hyper funny, which kind of translates to hyper obnoxious.
Yeah.
A lot of attitude for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I am not liking it. So
Yeah,
no for me.
I'm again kind of interested. This isn't a PlayStation exclusive as far as I know, but so I mean, there were a few things like this that were in the showcase that I was kind of like, oh, that's weird that they're putting a lot of emphasis on this when it's not a PlayStation exclusive. But it's a big game.
And I think if I'm reading this correctly, other than the timed exclusive of Knights of the Old Republic, I feel like the show was split into 2 sections, right? All the stuff we're about to talk about, I think, is multi-platform. And then there was another head of Sony came in and kind of bridged the gap between third-party stuff and Sony first party studios.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of talking multi-platform stuff, although there might be some timed. Well, I guess there is one other. Well, maybe not. Let's wait till we get there. So next is Forspoken, which I believe is a Square Enix game that I've been excited about for quite a while, and didn't see much of it. I think it was in a highlight, like smash cut trailer with all the Square Enix stuff at the end of their E3 presentation, and people were kind of asking where it was. I still am really excited for it. The one thing I would say is I definitely didn't know, based on what I had seen before. It's like, seems like someone from present day being transported to a different world or time or something like that. I didn't know that about the game. Not that it really affects whether I like it or not. I guess it was just something new. And we got a new release date, or a current official release date of spring 2022. So coming next year. I still think this game looks really good. Shocker, third-person action game, interesting locomotion. Not a hard sell for me. What about you guys?
I liked it. I thought it looked awesome. Definitely. Had we seen the locomotion? I know we'd seen some gameplay. I couldn't remember if this game
definitely
we had
seen like the dashing midair.
Yeah.
We had seen, because I definitely got infamous First Light vibes, which is kind of like the selling point for me.
And also, just the animation was really smooth in all the transitions between everything. It looked really, really incredible. So I'm fired up. I can't wait.
Yeah, I like this one as well, actually. I mean, I'm still a little bit like, I think it's an open world game, if I'm not mistaken, which, I don't know. Lately, I have been getting more into open world games, so I'm not saying that's necessarily a negative, but visually, I thought it looked amazing. Still kind of, I don't know, waiting to be fully sold on the gameplay, but I think I'm in.
This guy is a hard sell today. I don't know what's going on.
I just like a lot of these AAA games feel a little generic, and when they're
work for IGN,
newish.
Are you?
We'll get there. But when they're like newish IPs, and like I like original IPs, but like they're original IPs, and like the names are kind of like, I have a hard time remembering the names. Like the visuals kind of blend together. I'm just like, they don't have a strong identity to me. Other than, they look a little bit Japanese-ish, a little bit RPG-ish. I don't really know how else to describe it, but this one I definitely was digging.
All right, I'm making mental notes of all these criticisms, of course. For episodes. Next was Rainbow Six Extraction, which did we talk about last week or
just that it got delayed, I think.
Okay, I mean, I have no interest in this game at all. I know lately all Ubisoft stuff is like I have very little interest in, and this continues that trend.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got their established fan base that I'm sure will be excited. I'm not really in that zone. Doesn't seem like anything new really for Rainbow Six, but
I know like Rainbow Six Siege, or the multiplayer game, is huge. Like, it's really big, and this almost seems like a complete departure. Like, I don't even know if it would appeal to people who like the competitive gameplay of Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, I guess I guess that's true. There's like a few different lines of Rainbow Six games. And this one, like, it seems like it's there is a story, right? But it is still kind of a team-based thing.
Yeah, I mean, there is potential, I would say, for, and I think people like this about the two Rainbow Six games on Xbox 360. Like, they had pretty good co-op campaigns, I think, and co-op gameplay. So this could be kind of satisfying that. And if it had good, like, it seems like it's a co-op campaign or something like that, it could be something we play.
Yeah.
I'm not like barfing when I look at it. It's not getting me
Yeah, I
going.
guess the other thing with this is like there is definitely a sci-fi thing to it, or sci-fi horror kind of thing, right? Which I don't think, like, some of the Rainbow Six games are just like straight up like tactical shooters in the real world. So
Definitely, even art style wise, venturing into fantasy and not photorealism, which I think the series is known for. All right, next, moving on. One of the, not, I don't even think it's a bad or poorly kept secret. It was just in the news in the last 2 weeks all the time. The Alan Wake remaster, which, based on what I was reading, I thought it was going to be an Xbox exclusive. I felt like Microsoft and Remedy were kind of tight lately, but that could all be in my head. But it looks like it's coming to PlayStation. I'm assuming coming to everything. Was it October?
October 5th.
6th. 5th.
So right around Metroid Dread. I liked Alan Wake. I didn't love it. I thought the flashlight mechanic was pretty good. That's about it. I felt it kind of got repetitive, but it was a decent single-player game. Don't know if I'm aching to go back to that world.
I actually thought it looked very similar to what I remember it looking like on the 360. I don't know if it's just because it's really dark and just the character models don't really stand up, but it didn't like wow me in any way thinking that this is like a remaster. I kind of just felt like, okay, it's the same game I played before.
Totally, especially when you think about what that game's main mechanic is, which is a flashlight. And okay, I'd be thinking this is a time to do, real-time lighting and do something interesting with the flashlight and create a look that we couldn't create when we first made this game. Based on what I saw none of that.
Yeah, I was very surprised that it looked so almost generic or so last gen, let's say.
We're not much of a remaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the original game. I won't be going on my way to replay this, but I guess the one thing that's kind of interesting is it seems like it's indicating a sequel is probably going to happen. That's with these remasters, that seems like, if you're questioning why did this need to be remastered, sometimes it's like, well, there's probably a sequel coming.
Yeah, and weren't they talking about with Control, or maybe it was Quantum Break, that they were in like the Alan Wake universe or something like that? Like there was some tie between the games.
I thought so, yeah.
Oh, stop, Hawk. I'm going to puke all over this microphone.
You know what? This game really makes me want to go back and play Control. It's just so good. I want to play it so badly now.
Alan
after
Wake,
this show.
Confirmed, Alan Wake shares continuity with Control.
Confirmed.
That makes me hate both of these games even more. All right, next, GTA 5 coming to PlayStation 5 March 5th, 2022. Like, this is the dud of the show. Like, this game is how old? It took them this long to make a PS5 version? Like, they've got countless money at this company. How is it taking this long to get PlayStation 5 versions of GTA 5 and Red Dead? Like, this, if anything, I wouldn't even show this. I would do like a cold, soft launch of this game and just say it's out there. Like, what are you doing? You don't even make games. What does this company do?
What do? They make money from
Print money,
GTA 5.
I know.
They don't need to make games.
I can't believe it's not on there already.
I mean, these are huge games, so I can't speak to how quickly they should be out or not, but I agree. I'm not. I mean, it doesn't mean that much to me. I guess the one thing is we thought this was coming out in November. Now they've delayed it to March.
How you got to see it is this is Rockstar's Skyrim. When people stop buying it, they will stop porting it to the new platforms. They're just going to keep porting it forever, and people will keep buying it. Probably because they're like, oh, now I can play online on the next gen, so they'll buy it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. They announced this, or at least the online portion, a long time ago. Before PlayStation 5 ever came out, I was questioning. It seemed like it was supposed to come out to coincide with the PS5 launch. So instead, it's waiting another year and 6 months.
You know what's crazy? This game came out September 17th, 2013. Like, it is 8 years old.
Look, if I'm going to
8.5 years old by the time
go after Nintendo for releasing 10-year-old games and charging $80, I have to do the same for something like this. This should not be in a presentation like this.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Next, in terms of my my senses firing off and warning signs that I had with stuff like Halo Infinite, this next game certainly applies. Ghostwire Tokyo, which has been talked about forever. And this was the first time to my knowledge, that I've seen gameplay. I had no idea this was a first-person game. Did either of you know this was a first-person game before today?
I think I did.
Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking the game looked cool. I don't remember too much of the details. So I would probably say no, I don't remember that.
I must say that this trailer, I thought was the exact trailer we had seen before. Like, basically, yeah, like beat for beat, almost the exact same. Maybe with a little extra first-person gameplay. But it definitely made it more clear that the gameplay is kind of like BioShock Plasmids type things going on. But yeah, the fact that they showed basically the same exact thing for 2-3 years straight. Big time.
I'm assuming the big announcement was 2 years ago, right? Because it was a live E3 when it happened, I'm pretty sure.
I don't
no
remember.
live E3 last year.
Was it supposed to be like a launch window PS5 game?
I'm not sure. You know what? We don't even need to talk about it.
The
reviews are good, we'll buy it. Otherwise, this game.
It definitely got delayed this year, and there still is no release date. So, this is something where you think if you're going to show it here, you would say, this is the release date, but they didn't. So
this is like just showing the game still has a pulse, basically.
Yeah, that hasn't been canceled.
Not a good sign. Next, Guardians of the Galaxy. I think a pleasant surprise announced earlier this year that we're all looking forward to. Not a lot of new stuff, kind of more of a story trailer kind of thing. So I'm about the same place I was with it last time we talked about it. Still going to buy it. Kind of excited for it.
Yep, nothing new to add here. But, I mean, this is the kind of thing where, when we get to our final judgment on how this show went, having little things like this in here did not help. Like, I felt like I was seeing a lot of stuff I had seen before. I don't know if Frank's going to hold that against Sony, but he certainly did with some other press conferences we've talked about. So
Did we have a clear understanding of what the story was going to be before? I thought the story aspect was new to this. I thought the gameplay they had shown before, but the story part was brand new.
I'm guessing the story elements that were introduced in this trailer are new. I could not tell you one of them after seeing it earlier today. I just blanked out. I don't care.
Well, it's like a cult. There's like a cult you have to defeat, basically. A religious cult. Anyways.
Already,
yeah.
Again, out of my brain. Already gone. Video game stories suck. Next. The next two games are going to go under the category of I'm done hearing about these games. Every time you talk about it, I become less interested in them.
Should we just not feed the fire and just skip them?
I'll just mention them together. Vampire Blood Hunt, although it looked better than I remember it looking today's. Maybe that's because it's being painted with PlayStation blue brushes. It's influencing me a bit. But next is a PlayStation exclusive, Deathloop. And honestly, this was the worst I've seen of this game yet. Like when they were showing some of the gameplay of the stealth gameplay, and it was like, so you shoot I don't even know what it was, and then they like trip on the marbles or something like that. Like that looked brutal. I'm out on this game big time.
You like shoot the vending machine or whatever that was. It like spits out something, and then the guy trips.
Like looks like something that sounds cool in a design meeting, and then you go to play it, and it's like that's it. That's what I'm doing in this game. Nice. Sorry, I'm bringing the heat today.
You're bringing the heat.
I'm angry. We're not even. This is just getting the garbage out of the way. We're almost.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys have anything to add on either of these two games we've seen like 400 times already?
No, Deathloop's out this week, so it almost is like
this week.
Yeah, or like Tuesday, I think, right? The 14th, if I'm not mistaken.
Shit.
So
yeah, I think it's,
John, you are really excited for this game. Is this a pre-order / day one purchase for you now?
Yeah, it still is. But I mean, I will admit the trailer, I was even watching part of the trailer. I didn't even realize it was Deathloop. Like I was kind of like, what game is this again? Like you would think that would be super obvious, but it was not. So
they're having a real hard time marketing this game. Like they just cannot communicate what this game is about.
Yeah, like I thought their trailers initially were very cool and like flashy and caught your attention and had an interesting tone to them. But I agree, like like we said, the game's about to come out and we still don't totally understand. But I was listening to a podcast this week and somebody was playing it and they said it's actually very cool and I mean I won't get into all the details, but basically it's not a roguelike, it's not doing time loop stuff. That's the only reason I was
gonna buy it.
It's not doing time loop stuff in a way that you think it would be. Apparently it's kind of a very unique concept. So
Metacritic over 85, will buy day one. So
we'll see.
I'm not out completely, but today was the biggest drop I've had in anticipation of this game. Almost felt like a bad move showing it. Next, one of the things I was alluding to at the top of the show. I don't even know what it is, but Kid Amnesia. Some kind
Kid
of
A. I think it's Kid A Amnesia.
Kid A Amnesia. Some kind of project featuring both Radiohead albums, Kid A and Amnesia, I guess. Huck,
yeah.
I know you love Radiohead and those albums, so I was thinking of you.
Yeah. It was strange because I'm on like the newsletter for Radiohead, and a couple days ago they sent out a thing saying, look out for an announcement coming soon about like a Kid A cross Amnesia album something. Like it was really confusing what they were working on. I don't think they mentioned Epic at all or any sort of interactive thing. So I had no idea what they were talking about. I thought it was like a concert series. Like they were going to do a concert where they just play those two albums or something. I didn't expect it to be some sort of like interactive art piece that you get to explore on your PlayStation 5.
It could be both. It could be a music thing and an interactive accompanying thing. Now, I didn't see if it was on PlayStation 4. Definitely, probably not library material.
I know.
It's going to push you into the PlayStation 4 zone.
I don't have a PS5 yet, so.
Well, I know you're going to have to buy one.
I know. Well, the game's not going anywhere. I can definitely get it. It's not going to be like.
It says on
this one. I thought it was going to be VR for a second. Like I thought.
Maybe it is.
Sense. It says on the IGN site it's released on PS5 in November. It doesn't say anything about PS4, so I don't know. But I'm kind of curious. I mean, Radiohead does some interesting stuff. So
and those two albums in particular are quite abstract in like the soundscape and like they're kind of weird. So I bet. I don't know what kind of like artsy stuff's floating around inside their heads, but I bet it's pretty weird. It'll be a pretty weird experience.
I used to listen to those albums a lot. It's been a long time. So this might be the perfect opportunity to revisit them.
Well, and I think, I don't think I mentioned on the show, but wasn't I talking to you guys about the idea I had to do like an album, like as a game? Was I talking to you about that? No? Okay.
I think you mentioned it to me.
Maybe I mentioned it to Sean then. But I'm like, this is kind of like what I had in mind, though this is going to be like probably a little more just like an art walk around while listening to music thing rather than like a game to an album. But yeah, I'm kind of intrigued. No
doubt. Definitely. Okay, next is Tachia. I think I'm saying that correctly. I don't know
so.
if I am. And it's kind of an open world. Reminded me a bit of DokeV. Like it seems like kind of a kid. I don't want to say kid friendly, but kind of like childish art style. Not in a bad way, but just like the world looks like a kid's cartoon almost in some ways. And the key feature here was kind of a possession mechanic where you could go into the different animals, like a bird, into, I can't remember what the second one was. Then there was a sea turtle and some other stuff. When it started, I obviously was like, this is the exact same guitar mechanic as Last of Us 2, like literally the exact same. And I was kind of, my cynicism meter was high, but once I saw the animal possession stuff, I definitely, it sold me a bit. It's definitely not at DokeV level for me, but I am curious.
Yeah, this seemed like the one kind of indie game at the showcase that I recall, and I thought it looked kind of interesting. I mean, wasn't blowing me away, but I'd probably check it out.
Tropical open world adventure.
I must say, I was very impressed with just the scale of the world. And I just looked it up. The guys who make this are from New Caledonia, which is like a tiny island off the east coast of Australia. And looking at their website, there may be 12 people, 14 people. This seems like a pretty ambitious project. They're also publishing it. So I don't know if they got like a lot of government money, but this seems like a big project to take on for such a small team. So that has me a little concerned as in terms of populating this humongous world with stuff that's interesting to do. But at the same time, I like the art style. The possession mechanic was giving me Silicon Knights flashbacks.
Two games today were kind of Silicon Knights flash. Well, obviously, Alan Wake was very similar in story.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I think that was one of the key games.
Very similar to The Bird.
Oh, yeah.
Not today.
We should say, too, an unreleased game that never saw the light of day, so you don't know what we're talking about.
That we worked on. Well, it's been talked about, though, but yeah, we worked on it for like 4 years. So,
yeah.
And in terms of my children's cartoon vibe, apparently the original working title or project title was Project Caillou, which I believe is a cartoon too. So I don't think that's too far off base.
No.
All right, moving on. Next was Drake's 4, A Thief's End, and Lost Legacy.
Drake's 4?
What did I say?
Drake's 4.
Uncharted 4? In Drake's 4? Whatever.
A Thief's
Uncharted, the last Uncharted 4, and was DLC, but became a standalone title, Lost Legacy, getting PS5 remasters, but also PC. I thought that was the big part of this announcement.
Yeah.
That was leaked, I think, through the Epic. I guess someone did some data scraping of the Epic Game Store, and they saw that there were some Sony things coming. So I had sort of known about this before, like a couple days ago, but pretty interesting that they're going to start. Sony is now looking at PC. I mean, they already did it with Horizon, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Well, Neo too. Neo was a PlayStation exclusive that they kind of worked in. Death Stranding and Horizon. So they're definitely venturing into that world these days.
Now, was Lost Legacy, was that a spin-off of Uncharted 4 or was that a spin-off of Uncharted 3?
4. It was
4? Okay.
It was DLC for 4 originally, and then they changed it to be a standalone title that if you bought the deluxe edition of Uncharted 4, you ended up getting for free and saved quite a bunch of money, which I loved at the time. Even though I didn't finish that game, I did not like what I played of Lost Legacy. Like, putting Uncharted in an open world is not what I'm looking for.
I mean, I thought it was still pretty solid, but I agree. Like, I think the PC part of the announcement is probably the big deal, but this is definitely the part where I texted Frank and said a lot of remakes coming down the pipe here. Where, you know, Frank took some issue to that term. I guess I was using it to say both remake, remaster, or upgrade, because, you know, not only some of the things we've already talked about here, but obviously with Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima getting like their director's cuts this year, just seemed to me like there was a lot of that kind of stuff coming from Sony, and, you know, we give Nintendo a lot of shit for that stuff, so you know, granted, they're not necessarily selling these for $80 if you already own the other version of the game, but it sounds like they may be in the near future.
Yeah, I don't know what their upgrade plan is. I assume you have to buy Uncharted no matter what, the new or A Thief's End.
Yeah, for these ones, I think you would. Like, I guess so. This was actually a news story over the past week where. For Horizon Forbidden West, when they announced that there was going to be a PS4 and a PS5 version, there was not going to be like an upgrade plan. Like, so if you didn't have a PS5, Horizon 2 comes out, you buy the PS4 version, and then later you want to upgrade to PS5, you would just have to buy the whole game outright again. And a lot of people got really angry and kind of you know, blew up on social media, and then Sony announced, okay, you know what, we got it wrong, you can do the upgrade thing, but this is the last game you can do that for, because it was only supposed to be for launch window games. So
did they say this is the last one? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they said that.
They caved, eh? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of wraps up the remake / third party stuff. Then we kind of got a bridge, and to be fair, Jay sent me this, and I have to play it because it is. I didn't even notice it, which again is revealing bias, and I apologize. But let's play this right now.
PlayStation Studios, at its heart, is a diverse and passionate group of storytellers, and a collective of AAA studios all across the globe. Everything we do is driven and inspired by storytelling. As creators, PlayStation 5 gives us the opportunity to push the boundaries of storytelling even further.
A lot of mention of storytellers, storytelling, and like, I don't like it when people use the same word in like the same sentence or back-to-back sentences. So how I didn't pick up on that.
Oh, you didn't? I heard that right away, and I was like, oh, Frank's going to love this.
It's really embarrassing for me. And I have to admit, it is barf-inducing. It's like this generic, like every company writes the same thing for their stuff. Brutal, totally unnecessary. Like just show the next games. We know these are good games. Anyway, first one was.
You know what? You were in your blue haze, man.
I was. That's a good. You know what? We didn't have a good term for it. Blue haze. I was in the blue haze. And I'm finally getting shaken out of it. It took a while. Like when Jay sent that to me, I literally was in the blue haze. I played it later on. I'm like, oh my God, how did I not notice? Like there's something wrong. There's seriously something wrong. And I'm willing to admit it. It's not like I'm denying it.
Yeah, those post interview things were a little weird too, I found, because, you know, like we've talked before about how sometimes having like the gameplay with the developer walking you through it or whatever is kind of cool. Like I like hearing from the developers, but the people that they were hearing from were more like the executive.
Managers,
and like
I don't think so.
No?
Like
yeah,
you're
it was
talking
like the director and the creative director of God of War, or the director of.
Well, okay, that's
Sony,
true. But I was thinking of what was
Herman
the one
Hulst?
before? Sorry.
Herman Hulst, the like head of the.
Well, that's who I
PlayStation
just played.
Studios.
Yeah. So just when he was talking, it just seemed like a lot of fluff. You know, like it felt like I was not getting any information about the game creatively or otherwise. So But you're right. Yeah, sorry. They did talk to some of the actual game directors after that.
Well, it's a good thing I'm in the blue haze because Sean's in the green puke. Pushing Xbox. Holy crap.
I am completely platform agnostic, as always, Frank.
Okay, so the first thing was kind of an announcement trailer from our friends at Insom. Huge. We all love Insom. And I think immediately knew what it was when I saw the close-up of the arm. And it was...
all the blood all around the place, and he's the only guy still standing.
Yeah, I just like, well, it's Marvel something, and there was only so many possible people, and I knew how it was going to play out with the Wolverine claws coming through, and pretty effective. This is embarrassing to say, and it may be induced by a blue haze, but it's the closest I've come to getting chills from a game announcement in my life. Barf.
Oh, full blue haze.
Listeners and viewers at home, barf right now. You're completely in your rights to do that. But if this was at like E3, I feel like this would have been the thing most people were talking about, even though it didn't really show anything. But it's the perfect type of game to do this type of announcement for, because based on Insom's track record and knowing what Wolverine is, you can almost picture what this game will be, and it's already good.
Well, I would say all they have to do is take Wolverine Origins or whatever that game was that came out, I think in the PS3 era.
Yeah.
And like that, I love that game. I thought it kind of did Wolverine great. So you could basically take that, add some more set pieces, and you got yourself a winning formula, I think.
I think what makes Spider-Man so good, and Sunset Overdrive and some of their other action games, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but the locomotion, like the swinging in Spider-Man and how you could grind and get from place to place in Sunset Overdrive, I'm picturing in my head what's going to make locomotion fun for a Wolverine game. And my only thought is it will not be open world. That's a strong prediction coming from me right now. This game will not be open world.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. But, I mean, it's weird because I feel like if I saw this trailer not knowing it was an Insom game, I would be like, okay, shitty Wolverine license game. I don't care. But, you know, we've been talking about how, like, licensed games, like, the tide is turning a bit, and people are not just shoveling out crappy licensed games to tie in with movies anymore, and people are taking their time, and they're giving them to developers who know what they're doing. And so clearly, yeah, based on their track record, I'm very interested. All I want to know is, will there be a noir mode?
I hope not.
Oh, God, no.
A Logan noir mode.
Now, I have to say, I'm going to play kind of counterpoint here, Sean, and sound like an IGN writer, in that I'm kind of not that excited in the sense that Insomniac is not making their own IPs as much anymore, and I feel like they might be turning into a licensed content studio. Not that I dislike those games, but I obviously love Ratchet and Clank and the stuff they've come up with on their own. So my only downside counter argument to this game would be, well, what is this taking away from that Insomniac could do?
Yeah, that's a
they're
fair
going
point.
to become a Marvel IP warehouse almost.
Well, how many teams do they have, though?
Yeah,
I mean,
they must
they've got
be growing like crazy. So
I bet they have at least 4 teams.
Yeah.
So they have got, I mean, they could have half their studio doing Marvel and half doing their own stuff, and they probably make enough from the Marvel stuff to sustain those other 2 teams.
That's true.
So, and going back to the Wolverine open world thing, isn't he famous, though, for riding a bike? So they could do like a Days Gone open world bike.
Could be, yeah, that's a good
thing.
point. I was thinking of like a Feral Run or something like that that's kind of amped up, but I don't think Wolverine really does that to my recollection. So
I don't think so.
well, you got to have somebody around to throw him places. The old fastball special or whatever it's called.
Get Beast in there?
Yeah.
fastball special. Get Beast in there. Blue haze. Right. Next was Gran Turismo 7, which I'm very skeptical of. The last two Gran Turismos have not been great. I know I've mentioned it before, but the menu systems are extremely clunky. In my mind, Forza has completely surpassed Gran Turismo in terms of, first of all, accessibility. Like playing a racing game and not having to be amazing at racing games, and being able to turn on lines and assisted braking and all that stuff. If they don't have systems to match that in Forza, like it's almost a deal breaker right away. Because I'm not good at racing games, and it makes me not want to start one if you don't have those options. So I don't feel any differently about this game. It's really going to have to impress me at launch to consider buying it.
I would say the same. Like it looks impressive, and even though a lot of those shots looked like CG, I probably bet they are in engine. And I bet they are actually like cinematic cameras that are running in engine with all the car models. And I bet it does look that good. And that's kind of been like Gran Turismo's thing of looking good and also being a realistic simulator. So, but I agree with you, Frank. Like if they don't add helpers, if they really want it to be like just a strict driving simulator, it's going to be really hard. I mean, even some of the like in cockpit views they showed felt very claustrophobic, and I really don't like driving games that way. I just feel like you don't have enough field of view to play a driving game inside the car like that, especially when the dashboard and the roof take up like so much of the screen real estate. It's really hard to judge distances, and I don't know, maybe
you
if
don't
they
have
had like
to, right? Like they have third. There's also first person, like
no,
any
I
cockpit too, right? Like
I agree, but I mean if they are going for that, I agree. They do the other camera modes, but still, it just seems like that's what they're kind of pushing as like the way to drive it. But maybe not. Maybe they could just be showing that because it looks nice,
really good. Yeah.
I'm not that into sim style racing games to begin with. I don't know that I've ever played a Gran Turismo game. Was the last one, Gran Turismo Sport, was that supposed to be more of an arcadey one? Was that the thing with that, or not really?
I don't think so.
No. So yeah. Anyway, it's not really for me, but it looks nice. It definitely looks nice.
Okay, next was, I'd say, a bit of a surprise. Not a surprise that they're working on it, but that it's being announced this soon, which is Spider-Man 2, and saying that it's coming 2023. Looks like it features Peter Parker and Miles Morales and the villain Venom, which none of this is probably a huge surprise, but I didn't know they were working on this game. Did it say if it's in SOM officially?
Yes, I think it did.
Okay, so this is kind of where, if it was just Wolverine, I would be fine with that. But now there's two Marvel games that they're working on, and I'm obviously excited for this game, but not didn't really make a huge difference for me.
Yeah, I mean, they said 2023, so obviously, it's a ways out. That's one thing I was wondering is just, like you said, they're announcing it so soon. Are they rushing this thing out? Kind of like Miles Morales. Like, Miles Morales, great game, but obviously it was a shorter game. It feels like they knew what they needed to do to get it out in time for launch. And it seems like that's not the case with this. They're taking a bit of time with it. So,
well, the good news is you can change your release date whenever you want now.
Well, that's true too.
People are happy when you change it, which is fine. I don't care, but release dates are meaningless at this point.
That's true.
The other thing is that they showed Spider-Man and Miles Morales kind of working together quite a bit. So I'm wondering if they're going to try to put a co-op mode in it, or some sort of multiplayer.
Definitely an intriguing thought. And, especially with the Arkham or Gotham Knights game coming out and stuff, like, I'd like to see Spider-Man do that too. That'd be fun.
And I mean, if you think about it, they already have the world built pretty much. They have the core gameplay mechanics in. They have the web slinging. They have a lot of stuff that you already have starting. So 2023 is actually pretty far away, in my opinion. because I mean, they have done Miles Morales, but I guarantee they were able to do Miles Morales with a smaller team, not the full production team of Spider-Man 1. So I actually think that they might have some big ideas, some big gameplay ideas that they're trying to add to this game to make it a proper sequel. Maybe improve on the extra crap you had to do so it's not so boring. And I got high hopes for this one.
Yeah, I think most of this game is filming and rendering cinematics and making them look just,
Yeah.
like you said, a lot of the other stuff's done. So definitely excited for it.
I'm wondering too, like Venom is the villain, but could Venom become a playable character partway through the game or something like that?
Definitely possible.
Maybe. Well, or yeah, if maybe Venom leaves Eddie Brock, if it is Eddie Brock, and then takes over like one of your characters, and then you get to control as him, kind of thing, like what is it? What's Spectacular Spider-Man or something, where the comic series where Spider-Man had the symbiote thing on him. Anyways, that was a long time ago. I was reading those, but I think it's something like that. Anyways, lots of options with that. And then obviously Spider-Man 3 could be Carnage. And then just go Sinister Six after that. It's endless what they could do with this game. So
They'll find many ways to make Spider-Man.
let's just say Insom is going to be swimming in cashola for a long time.
All right, finally, not surprisingly, I was expecting to see this game. God of War Ragnarok, seeing a bunch of gameplay footage. The story is like something to do with Odin and Thor. I really don't care. Looks like they're a bit older. Atreus' voice is deepened a bit. Even Kratos looked slightly older. To be honest, I wasn't like blown away. It kind of looked like the same game world. It was frozen over. When they went to a new area, I was definitely liking it a bit more, but seemed like more of the same. Not that that's a terrible thing, but yeah, I'm curious. They said in the post interview that there's going to be twists, possibly specifically gameplay twists. I mean, at this point, it's not really spoiler, and they showed it in this video that the Blades of Chaos, like that gameplay twist in the last God of War, to me made that game. It was the best narrative / gameplay twist in a video game ever, and it basically made it a new game halfway through. If they didn't have that game would not be even close to the quality I consider it to be now. So I would think they have to be trying to match that in some way. So I don't know what it is, but I just hope they improve the map. That's all I really care about.
Well, in that post interview, the game director, I can't remember his name, was saying that the new one, new game director, was saying that actual Ragnarok is going to happen in this game. So obviously there will be a big shift in the gameplay, or at least in the locales, at like whenever that happens. Probably the halfway point, I bet, is when that will happen. But
I know I called this or predicted this for God of War 2018. Can I put it out there again? They need Kratos to go to Earth, like a modern day city. I think that's going to happen at some point. I don't know when, but.
I must say, did anyone else think the dog sled looked remarkably similar to the Gears of War sledding in Gears of War 5?
I don't think I made it to the sledding.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. It was like right at the beginning of the trailer.
No, I didn't see it in Gears of War 5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I think that was near the beginning of the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm down. I guess like it's not. I agree. There's nothing crazy shown. Like no, new mechanic that's selling me on the game, but I don't really need to be sold on it, so it's fine.
So in terms of wrapping up, notable exception to me was PlayStation VR. Like no update on hardware, what's going on with it. That was the one thing I thought they would be talking about in addition to the games. I mean, this is about the future. They clearly were ignoring stuff like Horizon and Kenna, Bridge of Spirits and stuff like that. So the fact that they're really pushing to the future, I'm surprised it wasn't even brought up at all.
Yeah, I agree. And also, a lot of people thought there would be something from Naughty Dog in terms of like The Last of Us. Like, I guess there's like a multiplayer thing for The Last of Us supposed to be coming or something. I mean, I guess they had the Uncharted remaster, but that's it.
I don't know if it's clear that Naughty Dog is even working on that. So
yeah.
So we have to do it. I will admit I was in a blue haze earlier today. I thought it was. I was really excited, partially painted by the length. Like all the announcements were really brief. They just kept everything flowing. But in terms of the game and the games and gameplay we saw, we're giving letter grades. We must. I will say this. It was better than anything I saw at E3 and better than anything I saw at Gamescom. But overall, I do have to consider everything we've talked about today, and I will give it a B+.
I will give it a B-.
I'm also thinking B-. That's what I'm going with as well.
Isn't that what you gave Xboxes at E3, which was nothing?
I probably gave Xbox more. I don't remember, to be honest with you. But I mean, I think Sony showed, like, Spider-Man I'm very excited about, didn't show that much. God of War, very excited about, didn't show that much.
What were you excited about at Microsoft that they showed so much of?
Replaced, I guess.
Yeah, they showed a camera tilt.
There was a lot of new stuff from what I remember shown at the Microsoft E3 thing. Sony, this was a lot of stuff I had seen before, so nothing wowing me.
Anything new at Microsoft at E3?
I don't remember anymore.
This is out of control.
So wait, okay, well, hang on, Frank. What is giving this the B+ for you then? Literally just the Wolverine teaser, the Spider-Man 2 teaser, and God of War Ragnarok that showed gameplay that looks very similar to the original God of War with maybe some improved cameras and the dog sled?
Yeah.
So
I'm already excited.
That's all it
takes. Way
takes.
more excited for all three of those games than anything at Microsoft's.
I think that's the definition of a blue haze. Giant haze.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay, well, also a tease.
PlayStation exclusive.
A tease.
I'm admitting they're teases. That's why it's a B+. If there was footage in any of those things, it would be an A solid A.
Okay, now most of these other games were in the other conferences, and I believe you called them trash there, with the exception of Project Eve.
I called them trash here today.
Well, then why is this so much higher?
Because there's 4 games I'm super excited about that are only on PlayStation.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I mean, Microsoft could easily announce
games that are
this.
only on Xbox. That's what they showed at E3. Horizon 5, which I'm excited for marginally. A new Halo, which looks like crap. What else are we talking about? A bunch of indie games that look cool. PlayStation didn't even show their indie games here. They were just showing big titles. Imagine if they had dipped into indie games.
Well,
Maybe they don't have any. Maybe they don't have any.
I'm sure they do.
Don't have any.
Hot take.
I mean, it's interesting just to think about like what it means for Sony like over the next year, say, right? Because like looking back on this year, there was some things that got delayed. So, you know, there was only a couple of big Sony games that came out this year. Next year, obviously you've got Horizon, God of War 2022 still, supposedly.
Yes, that's what it said, I think.
So those are 2 big ones. And I guess a few other things like that Ghostwire game and some other stuff. But like for the most part, I'm still kind of wondering, like I'm like, I got my PS5. I want to play some amazing Sony exclusives. I'm still going to have to wait a while. You know what I mean?
Okay, I hope you're saying the same thing about Xbox.
I mean, I have complained about the fact that they don't have a lot of amazing exclusives either, but
I could Returnal, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I feel like there's 2 I'm missing too. I think Ken is going to be really good. That's coming out soon.
Yeah, I hope
Your
so.
favorite Deathloop is PlayStation exclusive, even though I don't think it looks very good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Psychonauts 2? Oh no, sure, that's not exclusive. You just have to pay for it on PlayStation. What's exclusive to Xbox this year besides Forza?
Halo,
Possibly
baby.
possibly Halo multiplayer, which has been delayed like 3 times.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure the campaign is going to come out. Whether it's good, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, you're right. Like Xbox hasn't been that great either, but there's been this expectation that, so like, as we always say, Xbox has Game Pass, they have all this other stuff going on to kind of make up for maybe their lack of exclusives. I mean, they have some Bethesda stuff on the horizon too, but Sony, that's their bread and butter, is like those amazing AAA first party games, and they're just like slowly dribbling out. Like, it's a little disappointing.
What's Xbox's bread and butter?
Game Pass, we've said it a million times.
Bread with like one little swipe of butter. The butter you got to pay for, like Death's Door, the only good games that are exclusive to Xbox. Anyway, we're done. B+. That's a very fair letter grade, I would say. Let's get into what we played. Anyone want to go first?
I go first. I fired up the Myst Remaster that came to the old bread with a single slice of butter. And
Like Myst? Adventure
Myst.
game?
Yes. Yeah, it came. The
Yeah.
remaster came to Game Pass.
On Game Pass, baby.
On Game Pass.
I didn't even know that.
So it is no longer like pictures that you kind of scroll between. It's now like a first-person walk-around game, which I appreciated.
And I'm assuming they did that for the VR version, right? Like a lot of this stuff.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think so.
But I must say, damn, I have no idea where to go in this game. So I played it for maybe half an hour, pressed a lot of buttons that did nothing, found a few books that gave me a ton of information about stuff I have no idea what it really means. And then I uninstalled it because I just don't have time to dig through all this stuff at an extreme detailed level anymore. I mean, I appreciate Myst for what it did a long time ago, but boy, I need a little hand holding. I just cannot play these adventure games in like a gigantic open world situation. It's just not for me.
I tried to play Myst on like iOS a couple years back now, and because I never played it back in the day on CD-ROM, and I was excited to play it, and I had the same experience where I was like, man, like these kind of adventure puzzle games were so kind of obtuse back in the day. You needed like your strategy guide, you needed to talk to all your friends to figure stuff out, like. And yeah, okay, you can just go look it up now online, but that's kind of missing the point of these games, I guess.
Stupid.
Yeah, exactly. I got more. Do you want me to keep going? Keep rolling? You guys want to go?
I can mention something kind of like first-person puzzle-y that I played. I played a game, Superliminal, which, is kind of... I guess it's a little bit like in the zone of Maquette and also Antechamber and what's that other one called? I forget.
Beginner's Guide?
Not so much that, but like that the one that last time Graham was on the show that we were talking about.
I can't think of it either.
It's like on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, it's a first-person puzzle game. It's kind of Portal-esque in the sense that you're sort of like in some kind of experiment, but it has to do with sleeping, and the mechanic that they're playing with in this game is perspective, so you can like make objects bigger or smaller in this sort of like way that you can pick something up and like put it up in the air so that it looks like it's farther away, and by doing that, if you drop it and then walk up to it, now it has grown in size. So it's like, it's cool, but it's also a strange mechanic because it's very random how that works. I can't really explain it. You kind of just gotta.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like Maquette, but Maquette had like this clear line where you're gonna switch the size of something. It seems like it would be tough to design around.
Yeah, so like it's a little finicky because of that. But there's some other puzzles where it's kind of like, you have to look at something, like you see something and it's kind of like stretched in a weird way. And if you find the right angle to look at it, suddenly it pops out of the scene and it becomes like an object you can move around and stuff. So it's a lot of things like that. And it gets pretty weird towards the end. So I really kind of enjoyed that. But it's a pretty short game, maybe like 2 or 3 hours. And I enjoyed it. I would just say that, yeah, I still don't know that I fully wrapped my head around that main mechanic. It's very strange, but I liked it.
Frankie, got anything?
I guess I'll mention F.I.S.T. Forged in Shadow Torch, which I played about an hour of. A new Metroid-like game on PlayStation, which features a rabbit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I played
anthropomorphic rabbit with action gameplay, like combat. And
kind of reminded me of Biomutant. Like,
well, yeah, I got Biomutant vibes from the original stuff, and I definitely got vibes in terms of the level of polish and size of the company. But I think the gameplay of this game is much better from what I've played. I wouldn't say it's amazing by any means, but it benefits from having solid design borrowed from Metroid, and the combat's okay. I find it a little slow to start. I'm hoping more powers get unlocked. I kept thinking the whole time, why don't they just rip off Guacamelé's combat, because that game has amazing combat, and it kind of feels like they are. As you add more powers, it's starting to rip off their stuff, but I still think the combat in Guacamelee is a million times better with the directional system and color coding and stuff like that. Can't get much better. So it's pretty good. I'll probably stick with it. In between a 7 and an 8 out of 10 for me so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it too, but it definitely, it's like, I don't know, like it's not like A level in terms of quality. It's like one step down. So the voice acting's a little shaky. Like you said, the combat's kind of sluggish. Part of that's because your main weapon, at least to start, is this giant fist. So it's very kind of slow and bulky. But even the enemies, like when they're shooting at you, like the bullets are just like floating towards you and stuff. It just feels slow. But the platforming and stuff is pretty solid, I thought. And I like the world.
I played a game called Proteus. It's in preview right now on Game Pass, and it's basically Doom with like kind of a unique like sprite art style where I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's almost like this hybrid between sprite and almost like voxel. It's kind of hard to describe how it looks and how.
Did you say it's called Proteus?
Proteus, Prodeus.
I think I remember seeing this on Twitter a long time ago.
Yeah, I only played
awesome.
I only played the first level and it was awesome. And like the music is amazing. Like the kids were away and I had the speakers just cranked up. Like just it was giving me the same sort of like just like Doom kind of like energy from the music, and it was really fun, and I'm really looking forward to it when it finally comes out. And the first level was really, really fun, and they add other things like dismemberment and stuff that Doom never had. So like if you hit, now I only saw this on one type of enemy, but if you hit them kind of in the arm, it'll kind of like blow off their arm and then they'll still come at you. So you have to kind of pay a little more attention than in Doom. You can't just kind of assume they're going to go down when you think they are. But yeah, really fun. Had all like kind of typical weapons. You start off with your pistol, and then you go to like a shotgun, and then submachine guns, and then you could really easily switch back and forth between them with like, I was playing on PC, so like with the mouse scroll and everything like that. Really fun, totally like Doom. Highly recommended. People check out the preview because it was great.
This is on Game Pass, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of. I remember seeing it on there, and it reminded me of another game. I don't know if I feel like this one is sort of like in a early access or something as well, called Ultra Kill. Have you guys heard of this?
I feel like
I
that
have.
was the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
there's a couple I have on my Steam wish list that are similar to that. Ultra Kill's one of them, and the other one is called Severed Steel.
Okay,
And-
I don't think I heard of that one.
Yeah, so Ultra Kill is out now, and Severed Steel is not. I think
Actually, the one I'm
Severed-
thinking of is different than all these, and it was when I think from when I was still on Twitter, like that was 4 or 5 years ago. And so I don't know what happened to the game I was thinking of, because it was the same thing. It was like a retro first-person shooter that looked like Doom with sprites that looked amazing, and I don't know whatever happened to it.
I don't know. Or is it this one? Is this it? Maybe Dusk? Look up Dusk. I got a couple of these. I was in the mood for a Doom likes.
No, not Dusk either. Like, apparently,
not
a lot
Dusk.
of people had the same idea though, to kind of do retro first-person shooters. So, because there
I
was
don't
the
know if
one
you
game at Gamescom that was like this too, and it's not one of these ones. That was a Quake Arena kind of throwback game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did just add Quake on Game Pass as well.
Huge. That game's only 20 years old.
I think it's updated in some form, but
Yeah,
it's
man.
kind of
And I think it has. I think if you have like an RTX card, you could do ray tracing.
Whoa.
Whoa,
Game
is right.
changer.
This guy hates Game Pass.
Sure does.
I'll just mention Psychonauts too. Again, like I'm right at the end of the game now, and I like the game a lot. It feels like it's maybe a little too ambitious for its own good. Like the story goes in some weird directions. I don't know if you guys had a chance to play any more at all, but
No.
it just gets weird. Like not necessarily in the best way, but I still really like the level design. I find amazing, and I mean, I don't know, I enjoyed it quite a bit, but it's certainly not perfect. I would not say that. So, but I do recommend playing it if you have Game Pass.
Is anyone buying Life is Strange True Colors? On Power Picks, they just posted a platinum guide. 1 out of 10, 10 to 4 hours. That's tough to pass up. The reviews are pretty good.
I guess you're gonna have to pick it up.
I might.
Do you have anything else, Frank? I got one more thing.
No, that's it for me.
So I started playing this week a game called Dicey Dungeons, which, if I recall correctly, is made by the same guy. I think it's Terry Kavanagh that did VVVVVV.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
It was
it
on the Epic Store a while back, wasn't it? I think
was it?
so.
I don't think
Oh,
so.
damn. I probably already had it then.
Maybe
I shouldn't have bought it on Steam.
Things.
But it is very unique and very fun and very challenging. So it's kind of hard to describe, but it's essentially like a dungeon crawler game, but all you do is the battles. You don't really crawl through a dungeon. It's just like a basic map of like a circle's connected, and you basically choose which circle to go to. And I guess the story is you're a bunch of people and you get transformed into a dice, and you walk through these dungeons, and there's like some sort of game show element to it. And so there's 6 characters for each side of the dice. Each different dice has a different personality, so there and a level of difficulty tied to them. So like the first player you get is a very straightforward character where each round of a battle, I didn't realize this game's going to be kind of long to explain. It's kind of tricky. But so you roll some dice, you get some numbers up, and then as you progress through the game, you unlock different abilities, and each of those abilities have different things. They're either like straight attack or a shield or some sort of status effect that affects your dice or affects your enemy's dice, or heals you. And so you go through and you fight these battles and you get experience, you level up, and each section of dungeon is kind of like a roguelike where you go in, if you die, you lose everything, you go back to the beginning and you have to start from the beginning. And then if you complete it, then you kind of like finish level 1 and you have to go on to level 2, or you can go on to level 2. And what's interesting though is the first player is very straightforward. Like you get an attack, like I said, but then the second player is like inventor or something like that. And they basically, or no, what is it? It's a thief. So they like steal like numbers from other people. It's very strange. So it changes the game mechanics around completely. And then the third character is this robot. So instead of just getting the dice, you almost have this like slot machine, and you have to click the slot machine and it gives you a dice number, but the slot machine can only give you a certain total of dice. So like, let's say 13. So every time you click it, it gives you a number 6. 6 goes into the slot. So now you only have whatever that is, 7 left. You have to click it again. You get a 1. Now you only have 6 left. And then if you can start using your cards at any time, but if you go over the slot machine, your round is automatically over. All your dice are lost. So there's like this mechanic that you need to now play with where you're choosing where you want to slot your dice and how much you want to take a chance at rolling. Then the next guy is the inventor. And basically after every battle, he takes one of your items that you have equipped, like essentially your equipment, your skills, and he changes it into something new. And he basically gives you like 3 options. So you have like, let's say you have 3 different pieces of equipment. He'll change those into 3 new things, and you have to pick one of them. So you are automatically forced. So you can't just like take one ability you really like and hang on to it necessarily. You kind of have to always be switching it up. And then another one was, and then there's like a witch and then something else, which I haven't really played with yet. But it really, the only thing I don't like it is the first couple are nice. They kind of ramp you in nice and easy. They're pretty easy to figure out. Then at the last couple, very difficult. And then once you start doing the kind of like second stage of each character, it's incredibly hard. I almost feel like the game needs a bounce pass because each character has 6 levels, I believe, or 6 stages. So I like the difficulty on stage 2 is very hard. I have not even beat the easy difficulty on stage 2. So even though the gameplay is really, really fun and really interesting how they switch everything up, I do think it needs like a bounce pass. But the game's been out for a while, so obviously they have no intention of doing a bounce pass. But I really think people should check out this game. It's really a unique experience, really unique kind of gameplay mechanics that I'm really enjoying.
Sounds like you need to get good pass, bud.
I do, yeah. I need to engross myself in some blue haze and start gaming.
I'll be honest, it was tough to get the game based on that. I know it's complicated, but I did get vibes. It sounds like
it's super hard.
Slay the Spire to me, like something
very similar.
Like
it is similar to those type
like
of games.
Taking that game and reducing it to almost this kind of number crunching version of it, where it's almost reducing the mechanics to these baseline damage values and choices with very obvious economics and numbers, which sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I would say like it is basically a card. What would you call Slay the Spire?
Slay the Spire. Well, it says this game is a roguelike deck building game, which is how I
deck builder.
Slay the Spire as well.
Yes. Okay. That's a very good way to describe it. I really should have done some more prep for that.
Well, whatever. I think, and I'm assuming the one thing I wasn't sure with what you were saying is when you were talking about the different characters, I'm guessing those are different classes to play as. Like
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like the same thing with Slay the Spire. They started with the main 3 classes. And then as you add more, I can't remember the names of them right now, but they get more complicated. Like the way you build a deck and have to think about how powers and cards affect your playthrough or your build or whatever you want to call it. it becomes much more complicated. So it sounds really similar. It sounds like it would be really good.
Yeah, it's really really fun so far. I mean, I'm getting a little frustrated with the difficulty now, and I hope I can break through this difficulty wall. Look at that blue haze. Look at this guy.
I'm just checking to see. I might own this on Steam. I'm sure I bought or got this either a humble bundle or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch any of the videos. I just heard people talking about it, and I really wanted to try it out. And I think it was on sale, so I grabbed it. And I would recommend people at least watch some videos about it and see if this would be something they like it. If people like Slay the Spire and other deck building games like that, highly recommend it. Because
I do have
right up.
Dungeons.
Yeah, really recommend it.
Played 10.9 hours recently.
Yeah, so I've been playing it a lot. There you go. Although some of that might be running in the background.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the game,
all Steam numbers are juiced.
yeah. But I really like it. You should check it out. Dicey Dungeons.
Cool. Yeah, I wonder if that's like. I picked it up when it was on sale too on Steam, but it was one of those games that I was like, "Will this come to mobile?" Because it seemed like it would be a good mobile game as well.
I think it might be on mobile based on what I saw on Wikipedia. Let me see.
It works well with the keyboard and mouse. Like you kind of drag the dice around the field or like the gameplay board, and you drop them into the slot and everything. So it would. I can see how it would definitely work on mobile. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Not on iOS currently.
No, well.
Anything else for anyone? We're running long.
That's it.
Nope.
All right. Sorry, Sony always keeps us going a little longer than other companies. I wonder why. There's more to talk about. All right, well, that's it for this week. Who knows what we'll talk about next week? Maybe Life is Strange. What's the other big release?
Deathloop,
possibly. I'm looking to spend money anyway, so I might buy it. I feel like there's another big game.
Well, Tales of Arise just came out. I'm really thinking about cashing in some
so we're entering, we did our preview last year, but we're entering a lot of new releases, and we'll see which ones stick. But until next time, check us out on youtube.com/GameJunk. On Twitter, we've got Equilibrium Sys and My Angry Commute for Huck, and Sean is Film Junk. And the Discord is in the YouTube if you are interested in joining that. I personally have not been that active on there lately, but maybe there'll be some megaton announcements by next week, and we'll see you then. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.